What's up, guys? Welcome to Good Morning Lambeau. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. You can find me on Twitter at Packers_access. You can email us, PackersTotalAccess@gmail.com. Text us 865-658-5824. Rolling solo this morning as of right now. I say the time change got Tim. I know it got me this morning, as we already see in the chat here. Stephen Smith says, okay, who forgot to change their clocks? Well, I use my phone for everything, so I didn't forget to change anything. I just slept through the alarm. So my body was going, nope, ain't happening. But the good news is we get us an extra hour of daylight, right? So it's going to be a good day. I think we're going to be in the 40s down here in Tennessee today, so a little chilly, but it's supposed to rebound pretty quick, get back up around 70. So spring's almost here, guys and gals. We're coming up right on the corner of it, right? I'm really excited about that. Just want to say good morning to everyone in the chat. We got Peter Stone in the house. We got Josh in the house. William, obviously Stephen Smith. Good to see you guys in here. We're going to kind of break down a couple of different things. Maybe a shorter episode unless Tim hops in here. We get to talk, and we'll go over like we always do. But little bit of news broke overnight as far as contracts, right? Not for the Packers. Everybody's going, really? I didn't hear it. No, not the Packers. But it was kind of a somewhat of a market-setting deal, I guess you could say. I think there's three other players that still are paid higher than Chris Jones. As you guys may or may not have heard, Chris Jones got a new contract extension for the Kansas City Chiefs. And, I'm already seeing people going, whoa, he ain't worth that. They overpaid for that. I mean, how many years are we going to say this, guys? Like, the teams that spend money and spend draft capital on those interior positions are the ones that are in it year in and year out, right? And when you hear me talk about a three-tech, right, we need a true three-tech. You hear Michael Lombardi talk about a true three-tech. They're talking about players like Chris Jones. Now, the beautiful thing about Chris Jones is he's much like Aaron Donald in the sense that he can play nose if you need him to. He can play a three. He can play a one. He can play a three. He can play a five. He can even go wide nine. There was a couple years ago in the playoffs, he went wide nine and lined up like an edge defender. And that's why his contract came in a little bit, in my opinion, a little bit higher than the market value, which we'll talk about, because he's so versatile on the defensive line, right? And when I say, the teams that continue to build and willing to shell out money at these positions, they're the ones who win it. The first ones that come to mind, like I said, the Kansas City Chiefs. Chris Jones is one of, if not the main reasons that Kansas City Chiefs defense was so good. Like, name someone in the secondary that's not named L'Jarius Sneed. It's hard to do. Name their linebackers. It's kind of hard to do, right? Chris Jones really makes that thing go, and he does it by pushing the pocket on the interior, and then also being able to hop outside and create mismatches there too. And the teams that are willing to pay for that, man, they're going to get success, right? Like Aaron Donald a couple years ago. I remember people saying, man, Aaron Donald's one of the best ever play the game, but he's not really worth the money. They gave him the money. What they do? They went and won a Super Bowl, right? And he anchored that defensive line in a similar fashion. The beautiful thing about someone who's versatile like that on the defensive line, you're going to come out and face teams that maybe run strong side, whether they run gap or zone. Some teams like to run strong more than weak. Some teams like to run weak more than strong. I think the balanced teams, they want to keep it right around that 50-50 split. But nonetheless, 9 times out of 10, a team is either going to be a weak side run team or a strong side run team. When you've got a player that can only play strong side, right, or he can only play weak side, they can now build their game plan around running away from them, right? And not to mention, now you just slap a double team on his pass rush and you've kind of eliminated him from the game plan. Now, that does free up a one-on-one isolation somewhere else on the defensive line. But with Chris Jones, you can move him everywhere. Aaron Donald's the same way. 1 second, he'll be on the strong side in a 4-eye. And then the next second, you'll notice him in a 3-tech on the weak side, right? You never know where he's going to line up. So you can't really build your running game plan around, hey, we're running away from him because they're so versatile, as opposed to someone that's just a traditional nose tackle or someone who's just a traditional wide nine, right, where you can really run away from them. So that's why they carry so much value, and that's what we mean by a true 3-tech, because the 3 is just so good at being versatile in that sense. It's typically not to the extreme that you get with like someone, say like a Chris Jones or an Aaron Donald, where they can really bounce around very, very widely. So let's kind of talk about the contract for a second. I'm going to go ahead and kill my cam since I'm not talking to anyone here live. That way you guys don't have to stare at my ugly mug the whole show. But the Chris Jones contract came in from Ian Rappaport. He said the top free agent on NFL.com is off the board. Our story on Chris Jones, mega deal with the Chiefs as the All-Pro stays on a 5-year contract worth almost 160 million with 95 million in practical guarantees. Now, again, we always say if you sign a 2-year deal, it's typically just a 1-year deal. If you sign a 3-year deal, it's typically just a 2-year deal. If you sign a 4-year deal, it's typically just a 3-year deal, meaning the team can usually get out of that last year of the contract. When you sign a 5-year deal, it's usually a 3-year deal where a team can get out after the 3rd year, right? So what this does is it allows the agent to flex a little bit on a 5-year contract, because we know Chris Jones is getting a little bit older now, right? It allows the agent to flex a little more on, like, hey, look, the market is now set at 5 years, 160 million, right? And it's not even the highest paid, if I remember correctly. There was another tweet that had that put that out there. I didn't want to spend a whole lot of time on Chris Jones, but just wanted to mention the market value, right? Because of the versatility. So that was the details on the contract, right? And then when we get into the market value that they had projected, essentially what they had said was 28.4 million average annual salary. Okay, 3 years, 85.4 million. And then if you go to the bottom, it says base calculated value after adjustment, right? So they're comparing him to Aaron Donald, an interior guy with versatility, Nick Bosa, TJ Watt, and Joey Bosa. Notice those other 3 guys are guys that a large majority of the time are playing a 7 or a wide 9 tech, right? They're edge defenders essentially. So why are they trying to comp him to those 3 guys? Because he's so versatile, and they typically set the market, right, as those edge defenders. So they basically compared Aaron Donald's the 3-year, 95 million. Obviously, he was 31 years old when he signed there. Nick Bosa, 5 years, 170 million. He was 25. TJ Watt, 4 years, 112 million. He was 26. Joey Bosa, 5 years, 135 million. He was 25. So everything averages out to 4.3 years, 128 million, 30.1 million average salary, and age signed was 26.8. Now, obviously, if I remember correctly, Chris Jones is a little bit older than that, right? He's a little bit longer in the tooth than that average, right? So the base calculated value came to 2 years, 62.9 million, or 31.4 million. Now, if you look at the contract again, if I remember correctly, this number comes out to like 32.5 million per, right? Well, why is that? Because he's so versatile. And think about when Aaron Donald signed his contract. You know, it was a few years ago now. So I feel like Spotrac was really all over this one. I mean, they were basically a million off of that. Now, they go on to adjust it based off age and other things, and they dropped it down significantly to at 28.4. But when you look at the base calculated value, what that tells you is he came in higher than the base calculated value, and he came in significantly higher than the 28.4. That shows you that teams are willing to spend that extra money for that versatile interior defensive lineman, someone who can play all over the defensive line. They can anchor it at nose. They can play a 3. They can play a 1. They can play a 5. They can play a 7. They can even play a wide 9 if you're facing a wide zone team and you really want to take that away on the offense's typical run side, whether it's strong or weak. So just interesting to see how the market continues to grow there at the interior defensive line position. And again, it's just another example of follow the money with the successful teams, and they're laying out a blueprint on how to win championships. And it kind of irks me a little bit when I hear fans say, oh, they overpaid for that, or that's a stupid move. And it's like, okay, it's a stupid move. It's a stupid move to kick the can down the road and play the cash over cap game, but these teams just continue winning Super Bowls, right? And listen, Pat Mahomes is the number one reason, right? There's no doubt about that. Kelsey helps too, doesn't he? So, Pacheco, a phenomenal running back. But you kind of follow the blueprint, not to say that you go by the blueprint to a T, but that's where you've got to really place the value in the specific positions. But again, with the golden rule that we always talk about here on the show is you'll overpay for great, never overpay for good. The Chiefs just overpaid for great, and that's check it off. That's totally fine, right? They overpaid for great with Mahomes. They overpaid for great with Travis Kelce, although for several years he was underpaid. Like I said, just a way to kind of monitor the market as we continue to move forward for sure. So another thing that came out, Matthew Berry had a real cool article here he put out on NBCsports.com. If you guys don't know Matthew Berry, he used to do a lot of fantasy stuff, if I remember correctly. I had a good buddy that liked Matthew Berry's fantasy insight and everything. But anyway, he wrote this article, said, an annual tradition, the 25 most interesting things I heard at the NFL Combine in 2024. Over the years, this column has a pretty good track record. It's posted now, And as always, 100% free. So go click on this article on NBCSports.com. You can find him at Matthew Berry TMR on Twitter. TMR is all caps. And yeah, really cool article. Just kind of lays out the top 25 things that he heard at the combine. And typically where there's smoke, there's fire, right? So he mentions the Packers, I think a couple of times, if I remember correctly, too. So he mentions with the Packers the rumors that he heard at the combine. This isn't going to be breaking news or anything. It's just kind of, at this point, it's like triple and quadruple, what we say here, confirmation, right? So number 16 and number 17 on the list. Number 16, more Packers. Expect the team to move on from A.J. Dillon this offseason. They'll keep Aaron Jones and likely draft a running back early on day 3, but Emmanuel Wilson will get a shot at a real role behind Jones. They like him. So the last 3 words there, they like him, right? To me, that means someone that he met with, Goody, probably most likely was Goody at the combine, right? Obviously, Matt LaFleur wasn't there. The coaches wasn't there. To the best of my knowledge, the position coaches wasn't there either. I think it was just Goody and maybe a few of his staff members. But obviously, they like him. That last comment there at the end really says a lot. It means they think Emmanuel Wilson can be the number 2 running back. And that's what we've been talking about the entire time as we're doing mock drafts and stuff. When you have an opportunity in the 3rd or 4th round to take the best running back in the draft, I think it's worth it to draft a running back. But again, it's why we've done multiple mocks too, where we've skipped running back because it just wasn't best player available or wasn't even the top 5 or top 10 players, best players available when we picked. And the running back market is so far down. If you go and draft that guy, now you're going to have another year of Emmanuel Wilson, not really seeing what you got there. And he may be the predecessor to Aaron Jones. Everything about PFF suggests he is more than capable of being that next running back, right? It's just hard for me to get over the fact that you got a Trey Benson, you got a Blake Corum, you got a Braylon Allen from Wisconsin, you got all these running backs, even Ray Davis from Kentucky, Audric Estime from Notre Dame. You kind of go, but what if they can be a top 3, top 5 back in the league, right? That's the part that really gets your gears turning like, okay, maybe we need to take a swing in the 3rd round on one of these guys. And I wouldn't be surprised if Goody does it. I wouldn't be surprised if Goody doesn't draft one and ends up going and finding another Emmanuel Wilson off the scrap heap, right? One thing about the Packers, outside of Eddie Lacy, they're willing to wait a little later to get their running back, right? Like with Aaron Jones, and it was years ago, I think obviously Ted Thompson was the one who drafted Aaron Jones. Remember, he went and got Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams. We were devastated when Jamal Williams left the Packers, right? He was a fan favorite. They went and spent a 2nd rounder on A.J. Dillon. But obviously the measurables were kind of through the roof with A.J. Dillon being a bigger back that had that kind of quickness and speed. Now, I personally don't think that ever really translated on the field. He was more of just a one cut, lower your shoulder, try to pick up 3 or 4 yards top of back. Outside of the Tennessee game there several years ago, it might have been his rookie year or his 2nd year in the league where he just ran all over the Titans in the snow. Outside of that one, you never really seen it with A.J. other than I think he's just a good back. And that's why you're never, like I said, you don't overpay for good, you'll overpay for great. I'd love to see A.J. Dillon back if he does come in there at the $3.5 million mark. I would be okay with paying that. But when you see Trey Benson's tape out of Florida State, when you see Blake Corum out of Michigan, Blake Corum's one of those guys. He's just so shifty. Watching him work in tight spaces and using that agility and quickness, he's not a guy that's going to wow you with top end speed. But, man, he knows how to pick his way through the traffic, right? Trey Benson, a lot more dynamic. Probably, I think he may have had the best combine of all the running backs, if I remember correctly. Now, we try not to get too hung up on that. You guys know my board is set so that it prevents me from falling in love with prospects while they're running around, in their gym shorts down there, indoors on turf, out of the elements, nobody hitting them, right? Yes, there's a bonus involved in my draft board, but in no way, shape, or form am I going to try to compile information after the combine to say, okay, here's the structure of my board, because that's how you get in trouble falling in love with that quote unquote athleticism, right? So just want to point out, they mentioned they like him. That says Emmanuel Wilson will probably get a true shot at that number 2 running back. And the other thing there about A.J. Dillon is, like I said, triple confirmation now. Expect the team to move on from A.J. Dillon this offseason. What it probably means is they're expecting his market to come in a little hot, right? When I say hot, I'm not talking 7-8 million per. I wouldn't be surprised if someone offered him that. I mean, if you look at the PFF grades, right, and compare it to the other running backs across the league, it would suggest, hey, this guy's got as high a ceiling as anyone because 2 years ago he just absolutely dominated. Now, the neck injury last year, right? It was at the neck or the shoulder, and then obviously the thumb. This is the first year that you go, ooh, injuries are kind of hitting AJ a little bit. They're thinking about that too. And every one of these GMs that might potentially be looking to take a running back in free agency, guess what they're seeing too? They're seeing Trey Benson, they're seeing Blake Corum, they're seeing Audric Estime and Ray Davis and Braylon Allen and these guys going, hey, we could probably fix the problem with a third through a fifth round pick. So that's going to kind of drive the market too. Moving on to number 17 on Matthew Berry's list was the Packers are also likely to release the very talented but often injured offensive tackle David Bakhtiari as well. Notice how it says expect the team to move on from A.J. Dillon this offseason, and then it says likely to release the very talented. Word a little bit different, right? So I think what he heard from the Packers was, yeah, we'd like to have him back at a specific number, right? Now, I think it was on Wildy and Tausch. I can't remember if it was Wildy that said it. Homer, it was either Wildy or Rob Demovsky said, now, barring anything extreme like Bach coming back and playing on a minimum contract, I don't expect that to happen. I don't expect him to just go. And not that they're saying that. I think they were just trying to lay the foundation. Like, look, it would take something extreme like that for this to work out. The number I've put on it is if they feel like, hey, this has fixed the problem and he's going to be healthy, get that number down $7 to $10 million and welcome him back, right? And go, okay, let's try it one more time, Bach. The problem is I don't think the doctor's going to be able to guarantee that at this point. And we know Goody said he wanted to make a decision before the start of the new league year, which is the 13th. Okay, technically the 13th. So it could drag all the way up to that deadline. It could happen right now while we're live on the air, the decision being made. So, yeah, we'll, like I said, we'll see how everything goes here. Let's see. I think that's pretty much everything I wanted to hit on with Matthew Berry. A matter of fact, this is a good way to segue in to a little Rasheed Walker talk. Okay, because it's been, I don't want to say a hot button topic, but if you find yourself taking best player available at the tackle position, and I know this isn't indicative of all Packer fans, but you get a good chunk of Packer fans that are like, in no way, shape, or form should you take a tackle early in the draft. There's been several that got in the mentions and said the Packers don't need to take any offensive lineman in this draft. And I'm going, Bub, like are we watching the same tape? Like, yes, pass blocking. Immediately when someone talks about pass blocking, they go, but look at the sacks allowed. Look how well protected Jordan Love was, which was true. Outside of the fact of how many times did we see Jordan Love bouncing back in the pocket, rolling right in the pocket, having to create room. It wasn't like the offensive line played absolutely perfect. Now, they'll immediately go to, just like on the other side of the ball with Rashawn Gary, it's, well, look at his sack total. Okay. They'll go to the offensive tackles and go, well, they didn't give up any sacks, or they gave up a minimal amount of sacks. We're fine at offensive line. That doesn't mean the offensive line played good. It's a good indicator to go, hey, look at how many sacks are allowed. Those are your best offensive linemen, right? But if you dig deeper and look at blown block percentage, that shows you, hey, even though a sack didn't occur, it doesn't mean that offensive lineman didn't get beat, right? And for people that go, well, who cares? It didn't end in a sack. I care because Jordan Love isn't going to be able to create that space every single play, right? Like we showed you multiple times last night on Jordan Love's top 10 list, which we're going to try to finish here as far as the highlights go. We're going to do a little mini chalk talk. How many times did we show you last night Josh Myers getting beat, right? And getting walked back into Jordan Love or him whiffing, him completely hunkered over while his defensive lineman rushing the quarterback. Now, immediately the argument with Josh Myers goes to, well, that's just a hard block for the center to make. Yeah, no, I completely agree. That's a second-round pick, though. Like, you're telling me we're going to spend a second-round draft pick on a center and then make excuses that he can't block a really good defensive lineman? Like, what are we even doing there, right? With Rasheed Walker, in that sense, I think Rasheed Walker played good. I do. I'm just not sold on the fact that, hey, let's just completely neglect the fact that the best player on the board might be a left tackle, a franchise left tackle, and we're just going to ignore it because the sack numbers that Rasheed Walker did or did not allow, right? So when we look at the actual numbers with Rasheed Walker, this is what I wanted to point out. if you have a tackle that actually drops to, you actually have a tackle, a premier tackle drop to the Packers, then why would you not take him if he's sitting there and you know that's going to be an instant upgrade over Rasheed Walker? Now, when I say no, obviously we don't know for sure. No one knows. You can the most slam dunk picks in the history of the NFL draft, right? Some of those have been the biggest busts. And that's why they're the biggest bust, because people were expecting this you can't screw this one up, right? So let's look at the blown block percentage here real quick. Okay, let's start with pass blocking. This is amongst left tackles, okay? And this is blown block percentage, passing blown block percentage, okay? And if you look in that column there, it starts 3.6, 3.7, 3.7, 3.7, all the way down the line, right? This is left tackles, minimal 100 snaps taken, okay, to filter out some of the noise here, because he was going to be even lower on this list. So we tried to fudge it to make it look like, okay, who had at least 100 snaps? Rasheed Walker comes in 20th at left tackle. So when you look at the sacks allowed, I throw them out. It's just like on defense. Sacks are a result of you consistently getting pressure on the quarterback. I'm more concerned about the pressure rate, the pressure percentage, than I am the sack total, right? So on the offensive side, in the pass blocking aspect, I'm looking at the blown block percentage, because that's the percentage of the time that he got beat like a drum and there was pressure getting to your quarterback, and your quarterback was able to throw off platform. He was able to do the jump twist throw that we've seen, all the torque that Jordan Love creates. He's able to roll right and create extra space and hit Jaden Reed off an improv there in the back corner of the end zone. That actually makes, I think that makes the list today with the Chalk Talk episode of Jordan Love. All those things. It's good that Jordan can do that, but we're evaluating left tackle. We're not evaluating the quarterback. And the only way to evaluate left tackle, in my opinion, outside of the nuances of how's the footwork look, how's the hand placement look, how's this get off, all these things that are important for a left tackle, is the blown block percentage. So when you go to SIS data and sort by blown block percentage, Rasheed Walker comes in 20th amongst left tackles in blown block percentage. Again, 7th round pick. This isn't the dog Rasheed Walker. He more than held his own as a left tackle last year, right? I'm saying if you have the best player available on the board is a stud left tackle, it's a position that's premier. That's one of the premier positions. Go back to Trucker John's text to us the other day. He's like, if those are the most expensive positions, those being like, left tackle, he even mentioned wide receiver because the market's overinflated, right? All those things. Then why not draft those guys, get them on a 4-year rookie deal? And I said, bingo, that's what Goody does typically, right? Now he's really, really lucked up. I don't want to say lucked up. He's really good at late in the draft. But I promise you, David Bakhtiari, if they had a first-round grade on David Bakhtiari, they wouldn't have taken him as late as they did, okay? They would have treated it like a first-round pick, right? The problem was the good thing was Bach was an overachiever, and obviously he completely beat every negative aspect of his game. He just completely torched it and became a franchise left tackle. Rasheed Walker could do that. Right now, he's sitting 20th in pass blocking blown block percentage according to SIS. Okay. So again, not horrible as a 7th round pick, but it's just important, right? Now, what about run blocking? And I know most people are going, I don't care about run blocking. I do, because Aaron Jones isn't going to be able to save the day for the rest of my life as a Packer fan, right? How many times do we see Aaron Jones dancing around the backfield making something happen with people in his face? Hell, we showed it on Emmanuel Wilson. I know I got Tim in here with me. We showed a couple of Emmanuel Wilson plays the other day, right? Because you guys know I'm excited about Emmanuel Wilson. He's grading out similar, minimal snaps, but similar to Aaron Jones. He's got that kind of quick twitch and cut ability. How many times did we see it on there where there was someone in the backfield? Tim, you remember there was people in the backfield in Emmanuel Wilson's face and he made them miss, right?
Yep.
And what does that say? There was a blown block somewhere, either bad scheme or a blown block.
How many times have we seen A.J. Dillon have to just throw his body weight forward because the play is blown up as soon as he gets the ball?
Bingo. And another good point there is that's A.J. Dillon. Like, he can't dance around and make people miss. He just got to go, crap, let's hit it. Now, pause for a second. Forget the data. Forget me. Forget Tim. What did Mike Wall say about that? When we had Mike Wall on, and I asked him, and I said, Mike, what's wrong with A.J. Dillon? He said, I know everybody's looking at the tape and going, man, you got to put yourself in his shoes. He gets the ball and looks up, And there's supposed to be a gap. There's supposed to be a hole right in front of him. Not only is there not a hole there, but you got a guy 2 yards in the backfield. What do you want him to do? Of course, he's stumbling over his own feet because he's trying to completely change position and get upfield. Essentially, what Mike was saying was the offensive line is dookie right now, run block, right? And everybody's trying to blame AJ Dillon, going, this guy's stumbling around everywhere. It's like, slow it down, watch the box cam, and see exactly what's happening in front of AJ, right? Now, could AJ have done better? Absolutely, he could have. But just wanted to point that out. Now, if we go to Rasheed Walker's run blocking, if you'll hop over to the far right and then come back one cell, that's your run blocking blown block percentage, okay? Left tackles, minimum of 100 snaps, okay? Rasheed Walker comes in 20th there as well at 1.6% blown block percentage. So if you were to remove every other metric and go, all right, how consistent is he at doing his job there, i.e., how often does he screw up and where does that rank amongst the league? There's 32 teams. The halfway point, the halfway mark would be 16, correct? 16 plus 16 is 32. I think that's right in Kentucky too. He's coming in the bottom half of the league amongst left tackles in blown block percentage in both pass blocking and run blocking. It doesn't mean he's not the left tackle of the future. I'm simply saying if you've got a guy that falls to you at the number 25 pick, and that's a premier position, which we all know left tackle is. I've been trying to wipe it off the premier position for me, the tier 1 of importance. And I talked to offensive line coach. Coach Hahn was one. Like now, Clayton, left tackle, blind side of your quarterback, still the most important. Because I was trying to make a case like, I'm seeing these teams that are focused on center. I've got it as a tier 2 position. Should it be a tier 1? Because, again, who won the Super Bowl this year, right? And who was their center, their anchor on their offensive line, right? It was Creed Humphrey, the guy that, went one pick after Goody took Josh Myers, who was the center last year, obviously for the Philadelphia Eagles, or the year before. They were representing the NFC going into that game, right? It was Jason Kelsey. So you see it over and over and over, and you're trying to draw these blueprints of what are the best teams focused on and where's the strength of their team. That's why I thought center might be more important, but all of them hands down said, no, left tackle is still most important. So you get someone falling here, Tim, I don't understand. I mean, there was literally, Tim, there was people in my mentions going, if you take one offensive lineman in this draft, you're an idiot. I'm like, what? Are we watching the same team here? Like, and again, I didn't respond because I ain't on Twitter to argue. I wanted input. I didn't ask specifically about, hey, should we not take an offensive lineman? That one kind of blew me away. But
those people are morons. It is what it is. I'm just going to call it like I see it. Those were probably the same people that last year were saying that we need to sign a veteran wide receiver. So,
yeah, it could be. I try to. All I'm trying to do is say here, this is how I'm seeing it. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm not saying they're wrong. I guess I am saying someone's wrong when they literally are convinced. I don't care what the board looks like. I don't care what Goody's board looks like. We do not need to take one offensive lineman in this draft. I'm blown away by it.
Yeah, no, that's wrong. Well, I'm just going to say it. Those people are wrong.
Yeah, I can get with that too. But again, we can all agree to disagree. It's just I wanted to point out that's what I'm seeing with Rasheed Walker, right? Is blown block percentage not horrible, not great. I hope he can jump into that top 15 in that category and get even more consistent. And honestly, it feels like he probably will, because going into last year, we were kind of expecting him to be the backup, right? We were wanting Bach to be healthy. Week 1, it looks like Rasheed Walker is going to be the swing tackle, right? And even at the time, it wasn't like Rasheed was a slam dunk. We were still talking about Yosh Nijman. We gave Yosh Nijman $4 million to sit on the bench last year. I think people can make a case that he was supposed to be the swing tackle, but they didn't expect Rasheed to take quite the jump that he did. So if we move forward with Rasheed, I'm okay with it. If Goody takes a swing at left tackle at 25, I'm okay with that too, because, man, the thought of – here's the other thing that comes into play too. What if they take someone who can play right tackle, right? Guard is the big issue, right? Right guard is like the big sore eye, that and center, in my opinion. What if they take someone who can play right tackle? Let's say it's Graham Barton at 25, and they go, okay, we can plug and play Graham Barton at right tackle. The thing with Graham Barton, he could play all over the offensive lines, what everybody's saying. So you could probably just plug and play him at right guard. But if you get someone that's specialized in being a right tackle, or someone who can definitely play right tackle, You kick Zach Tom into guard, or you can even kick Zach Tom into center. Wildy said, I think it was Wildy on the show yesterday, said, this is how it was explained to him by someone in the organization. Zach Tom at right tackle, really good right tackle. Zach Tom at right guard, I'm probably going to butcher this. We said Zach Tom at right guard, Pro Bowl right guard. Zach Tom at center, all pro center. Like, the further you move him in, the higher he goes. He could possibly, most likely, be the best center in the entire National Football League. Now, right tackle is very, very important, obviously. So we want to hold on to that and keep him there if that's the right move. But if you go out and draft a tackle that can play right tackle, I don't like the idea of Rasheed Walker finishing 20th in blown block percentage in passing and running, and then trying to get him to switch over and play right tackle. I think you either leave Tom there and try to plug and play like a Graham Barton or someone at right guard, and you still got the versatility. The value is there for a first-round pick of someone who can play tackle, kind of like you got with Tom later in the draft. That's kind of how I see that. I don't know. And again, it all depends on how the board falls. I'm not saying it's a slam dunk. You need to take an offensive lineman at 25. I'm saying if Goody's going to pick at 25 in the top tier of current talent, the current top tier of talent on his board, hands down, the best player on the board is Graham Barton. And then you got to go down a tier or two, and there's the next set. You're going to pull the trigger on him if you don't have a trade lined up, and feeling really, really good about his offensive line room. So just wanted to hit on it. We hit on a little Chris Jones contract that dropped him, just to kind of talk about where he came in on the market. Again, wanted to hit on the Rasheed Walker talk a little bit. I think a perfect scenario would be Rasheed Walker to take that next step and get into the top 10, top 15 in blown block percentage. Now you're set for the next 2 years at left tackle. That would be absolutely awesome. I just trying to prepare people, like, don't think Goody is looking at it that way going, let's don't take an offensive lineman this year. I don't think he's approaching it that way. He's thinking best player available and how it may or may not line up with the needs. So,
and he's probably still thinking that they're happy with Rasheed Walker, and you're going to get better in this league the more you play. So the more snaps he plays at left tackle, the more we should see his game improve. I say that to say this: that doesn't mean you don't draft somebody else. That doesn't mean you don't put another piece over there, just in case things don't work out, or he hits the wall, or we know about the injury bug. No team is immune to it. What is your answer aside from juggling the entire offensive line around if you don't have Rasheed Walker at left tackle? So you got to take someone in this draft for sure.
Yeah, it's going to happen somewhere. In all the mocks that we did, it seems like it happens in the first round. It seemed like it happened in the second round several times too. Now, when we went offensive line in the second round, we always missed on Newman, didn't we? So it's like, if Goody is high on Newman, that most likely is going to happen at 41. Now, we'll see how the value drives up. Here's the thing too. We always talk about this every offseason. The free agent market, or the draft depth will determine how aggressive people are in free agency. We pointed it out with tight end last year. I think we pointed it out with wide receiver the year before. What I mean by that is, if you look at the draft and go, okay, this position is deep, that drives the value down in free agency, because all these teams are going, hey, this is a deep, like Goody pointed out, this is a deep cornerback draft, right? I guarantee you teams are looking at, like, let's don't overpay for corner in the market, because we could probably get a solid corner in the draft because it's so deep. So if you look at it from that standpoint, what are the positions of need for the Packers? Safety, right? The safety class at the top is kind of weak this year. The 33rd team has Newman coming in tier 3, which is still a potential starter, but it's obviously tier 3 for a reason. I have Newman. I'm trying to think of where I had Newman. And again, I got to update my board, but the last time I posted it, I have him 28th, right? I have him 28th. And then the next safety comes in way later, which is, when I say way later, it's not way later. Let's see where I had it at here. Javon Bullard at 62. I've got Javon Bullard actually higher than Cam Kinchens. I've got Cam Kinchens at 84, which you guys know I've talked about that all off season. Got roasted for it early. Then after the comment, everybody's going, hold on, okay, maybe he isn't as good as we thought, right? I watched the tape and I still don't know what people seen. I'm just like, I don't know, man. And as far as the scheme fit and stuff with Newman, we've seen now Newman played the majority deep safety. So it's not like he was just roaming around in the box, right? So with that being said, if the safety market is top heavy with just one, right, just one at the top, once he goes, the teams know, okay, that value drops a little bit there. they're going to be a little more aggressive in free agency. Well, the free agent market is absolutely saturated right now, right? There's a ton of safeties out there that I guarantee you people have first round talents coming out of the draft on several of these safeties. Now, the last few years of scouting them across the league, we'll see if that grade held true or not, right? That can change a GM's opinion on a player that they may or may not have been higher on coming into the draft. So we're going to find out soon, though, Tim. We're 1 day away, man. Legal tampering period cranks up. And here's the thing. These guys that have already been cut, they can already meet with teams, right? To the best of my knowledge, I haven't heard anything about Xavier McKinney. They did cut him, right, Tim? Or did they just announce they were going to cut him? I can't remember.
Don't know if that's
because that matters. You know what I mean? Because like if they already cut him off the books, he should be meeting with teams. If they just announced, hey, we're gonna cut him loose, then he can't meet with them until the legal tampering period that starts on the 11th. That makes sense. So, which is tomorrow. We'll find out soon enough, though. It's right around the corner for sure. Here, just I guess less than 24 hours or right around 24 hours. So
he's still listed as a Giant safety according to ESPN. So,
okay, so maybe he is still technically on the roster, and they just announced they were going to cut him loose. Again, I just want to get to the 11th, so none of that matters. It's like every checkpoint for me is like, okay, we can cross that off the list and move forward. And okay, here's what we're keyed in on now, right? So, yeah, there you go. All righty, let's see. Jarrell Lee in the chat says drafting offensive tackle is the Packers' way. Definitely draft them one. That's right. I agree, Jarrell. It's just when, right? And where do they have the value at, though? Where do they have the value at? That's going to be the big question. So, all right, good deal. So we got that covered there. A little bit of tackle talk, obviously. Tim, let's jump into our other. First of all, do you have anything else you want to add to those conversations? I don't know what all you did here before you hopped on. I was telling everybody the time change got me. I didn't forget to change the time. It's right here, baby. We're good, right? But the problem was I just slept right through the alarm. So.
That whiskey got me. So
you were in the bottle a little bit last night, huh?
Just a little bit. Forgot about that fact that we lost an hour. So a little bit behind. No, it's all right. I got the cup of diesel. We're doing good.
I woke up like Willie Mays Hayes this morning. I raised up out of bed and went, I've been cut already. So ran downstairs, let the pups outside, grabbed a cup of coffee, and tried to wake up before we hit record or go live. Anyway, so people are still blown away that we go live every episode, because I talked to other podcasters and they're like, man, I can't stand going live. I'm a nervous wreck. We get to the point we don't care. We screw up so much anyway. Let's just do it live on the air. Who cares?
That's right. Otherwise, we'd be editing, 5 times as long as we recorded a show. So
I can't do it, man. I cannot do it. The editing, the sound of editing makes me cringe. So. All right, let's do this. Let's jump into a little chalk talk. Let's finish Love's plays 3 through 1. You good with it, Tim?
Let's go.
All right, here we go, man. Just
confirm
you can see this okay on the screen for me.
I can see that. Number 10, because he only throws dimes. Let's go.
He's about to drop some dimes here. We're going 3 through 1. Again, this isn't our top 10 list, guys. This was posted by NFL Network. I think it was put together by NFL Total Access. So this is their opinion on Jordan Love's top 10 plays of the year. I definitely disagree with a few of them. They were great plays, but there was a couple plays during the season I was like, I think that was actually a better play than this one. But anyway, here we go. Number 3, this was against the Buccaneers, Week 15. And again, a lot of these plays, Tim, came in games that we lost, and you forget these great plays that happen because, we're so pissed off after the game that the Packers lost that it's hard to – it's a little more difficult to remember the good plays on a loss because it sucks. We lost, right? So it's cool to kind of relive some of these from the losses because it does give you a little bit deeper glimpse into Jordan Love's game. But here we go. 3rd and 14 play, 3rd quarter, 4:26 left. We're down by 10, obviously on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, what seems to be about their 18-yard line, somewhere around that point. Inside the red zone, got to make something happen here. We come out in 11 gun doubles, Y flex left, double switch, slot cross, go pivot, T flat. All right, let's talk about what all that means real quick. The 11 gun, here's your running back. That's one running back, one tight end. Y flex left. Why did I say Y flex left? Notice how they got, I think that's Musgrave. It might be Kraft, maybe Kraft. It's hard to tell. A couple big white boys tied in. They look the same from this TV copy, but he's obviously flexed out. Notice how he isn't inside, Tim. Most of the time, even if they've got him flexed and detached from the line, he's kind of in that slot spot almost, right? Here they've got him outside. So that's your 11 gun doubles. Doubles meaning 2 by 2, right? And then you got your Y flex left. He's flexed outside here. You're still in a nasty split. I didn't mention that because I think our listeners now know what nasty means. Anytime all of your receivers are lined up inside the numbers, that's what they refer to as a nasty split. All right. We're going double switch. What does switch mean? Switch is when receivers change positions when the ball is snapped, meaning they cross over each other. Okay. That's what a switch release is, right? See how this guy is lined up inside of this guy and he's going to end up outside. Okay. When I say double, typically you just get a switch on one side. Switch release is a really good man coverage beater because you've got these guys, and I don't know if they're playing man here. I don't care to diagnose that aspect of this play right now. Let's say they are in man coverage, right? I guarantee you their responsibility is anything outside, anything that comes out here is this guy's responsibility. Anything that goes inside here is this guy's responsibility if they're playing man coverage, right? So a switch can kind of get them crossed up. Now, typically, they're taught to stagger their coverage. People want to see press all the time. Fans want to see press. They want to see these guys up here pressing. The problem with that is when you got these guys semi-stacked, how close the receivers are, you can literally rub and be gone in a second if you're playing top man coverage. So what these teams typically try to do is stagger their coverage a bit, and it allows them a little bit of time. So as the switch releases, he knows I'm just going to take the inside guy. This guy knows I'm just going to take the outside guy, right? That's why it's important to play off a little bit when you got these tight or semi-stacked, sets here. And what I mean by stacked is when a receiver, like if this receiver was directly behind this receiver here, right? That's what you refer to as stack. I kind of call this stack anyway because they're so close, right? You're getting the same effect, if you will. But again, switch is just them changing positions with each other, crossing each other's paths, if you will, as they release. All right. So double switch, both sides. They're going to do a switch release. They're going to do a switch release. Okay. So we'll go double switch, slot cross, go pivot, T flat. So the slot cross, you've seen we've run it all year long. You're going to have one guy is going to get out here and run a crosser, right? And he may run it deeper than that, but if I go into the black on the screen here, it'll kind of mess up the program here. So it's all good. The other one is going to run a backside dig. Okay. That's called slot cross. That's that passing concept. Go pivot on the other side. Okay. The go pivot is one is going to run a go route and the other is going to get out here and run a pivot route. Okay. Where he's just going to kind of work back out. So you can see they're trying to get a little flow underneath to the right here. And like I said, on this side, they're trying to get a little slot cross action. You see slot cross on almost every passing play for the Packers this year. It's probably, I feel comfortable and confident saying that it's Matt LaFleur's favorite passing concept when he's drawing up passing plays. Okay. So there that is. And then you got T flat, which you see him, he's kind of shifting outside last second, almost to like a wing spot or even out here in a semi bunch set. And then he's just going to get out here and attack the flat. All right, so that's the passing play, okay? 3rd and 14, let's roll the tape, see what happens here. So Jordan takes a snap. You see the switch. Let me just, like I said, let's talk about the switch. It's very subtle, but notice right here, Tim, notice how he is going to end up outside and the tight end is going to end up inside. Watch right here, real slow motion. See how they switch? That's what switch release is. And sometimes it's more drastic than others. Look up top, same thing. See how they kind of change positions on the field, right? They switched at the top. There you see the pivot route come back with number 18, Malik Heath. And look at Jordan Love. Here's a good example of Rasheed Walker holding his own, right? But still, it's Jordan resetting the pocket and creating a little extra time, right?
Yep.
And here you see number 75. That's Sean Ryan at right guard. We've dogged John Runyon all year long. Key in on the right guard here. Okay. And again, this is a positive play. I want to point out the problems on the offensive line and what we talk about. And it's like, okay, well, they're not giving up many sacks. They're not giving them sacks because Jordan Love is back there hopping around, bouncing around, throwing off his back foot like a freaking superstar. That's what happened in the second half of the season, right? So again, look at Sean Ryan. He's going to try to pick up that twist. Myers, this is what I'm talking about. Like, watch Myers on this rep. And it's tough, right? He's engaged there. All right, that guy, they're running kind of a He's kind of going from a one tech and crossing Myers' face. So now Myers has got to look for work. And he's lucky he didn't hurt Elton Jenkins right here. You see what I'm saying with Myers here, Tim?
Yeah, just getting dog walked.
Yeah, I mean he gets popped back, and then he tries a rebound, and they've got a rule: stay off the ground. If you're an offensive lineman, stay off the damn ground. This is how you blow other linemen's knees out. Watch Myers right here. Got really lucky that Elton's able to look at his leg right there, and look where Myers is falling to.
Yep.
Luckily, Elton gets that leg tucked right there. Right.
It's like Mike Wall says, right? It starts look from the ground up. It starts with the feet and the footwork.
Absolutely.
And that's what the issue is with Josh.
Yeah. And again, it's just another example of if this isn't Jordan Love at quarterback, guys, and he's got to step into this throw right here, where's he stepping to?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Instead,
stepping on Rasheed Walker's ankle.
Yeah. And on the opposite side, right guard, we keep talking about, this isn't John Runyon. This is Sean Ryan. Look at him getting beat like a drum. That right there. This right here, guys, this ain't a good look.
Yeah.
You never want your offensive lineman's back to the defense and his arms extended towards the back of a defender that's running free at your franchise quarterback. Right?
Yeah,
I hope the people on Twitter that were saying we don't need an offensive lineman are watching this play, because look at this right here, guys. Poor Elton did everything he could. Josh almost blew Elton's knee out. And Sean Ryan looks like he's running a relay or something.
Looks
race.
like he's staring at Ashwaubenon right now.
It almost looks like Rasheed Walker. Rasheed Walker's getting walked back a little bit too, but it almost looks like he checks on Elton right here too. Watch his head snap to the side. He's like, "Damn, E, you okay?" You see this? He's like,
"Yeah, don't worry. I got your back. I got Jordan's back." Nacho Libre, what the hell you doing over there?
Right. And again, it's just another.
Jordan's like, screw all of you. I'm out of here.
It's another example of Jordan making something happen here. Look at this, man. Right? Just a phenomenal play. And this is a laser, man. Look at, on the run. We got to nerd out here for just a second.
Yep.
Jordan Love rolls right. And this is just an absolute seed, man. Look at this.
I promise you it's not as easy as he's making that look.
When he got to this point and threw right here, Tim, I remember in real time thinking, just throw it away. And now I'm thinking, okay, throw it away. And it's like the ball kept gaining velocity.
And I don't know why he didn't just tuck it and run it, is what I was screaming.
Yeah.
There's daylight with a blocker.
This is just I remember when it gets to the end of the play and Jaden Reed actually makes the catch, I remember thinking, did he get his feet in?
Oh, yeah, Bird's the man, dude.
Dude, and Jordan, that was just a laser by Jordan, dude. It's perfect example right there of Jordan making stuff happen with pressure in his face, right? But look at these feet, man. This is phenomenal.
Look at the ball placement, though. Does that remind you of anyone?
Seriously, man. It hits him right in the bicep. Look at that.
Bam.
You couldn't have walked it out there anyway. Look at nose down too, Tim. Nose down on that laser. What I mean by nose down, look at the trajectory of the ball. Tight spiral, nose down. Aaron talked about that all the time, especially when you're playing against a cover 2 zone defense and you need to hammer that base. You got to throw that ball nose down, man. You got to – I'm talking about velocity, nose down. If that nose is up, it's going to sail on you, right? Yep. That is just like you said, Tim, that's a perfectly placed ball, dude. Look at that.
Yeah, Jaden Reed's so good with the footwork.
Yeah, right there.
I mean, that's why he's a complete wideout, because he's got the hands, the speed, and the footwork.
Yeah. Look at Uncle Joey over here, man. He's going, I've seen this before. Holy shit, I've seen that.
I like the end of the play when Jordan runs right over to Reed, too.
Yeah, going over to celebrate with him for sure.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, just a phenomenal play, man. No doubt about it. God, that placement of the ball, dude. Look at that. Both feet in. You love to see it, man. We got us another one, boys. We got us another one. I can't believe it.
Yes, sir.
Let's see here. All right. Got the verbiage in a little bit late here on number 2. So number 2 of the top 10 from NFL Total Access for Jordan Love's top 10 plays of the year. Week 13 versus the Chiefs. They come out in 11-gun, strong bunch right, T-bound, T-drag, X out, Y safe, slot cross. I was trying to shorten the verbiage and it was impossible because I wanted to draw it exactly what was happening on this play. Okay, so first of all, you're in an 11 gun. There's your running back. Okay, there's your tight end. When I say T-bound, it's short for boundary. So the boundary side of the field is the short side of the field. Okay, notice where the ball is at, where the ball is placed, right? And so the ball is basically spotted right in here. Okay, so you're on the short side of the field, the boundary side of the field. That's where the T is lined up. Okay, so that's what T boundary means. So there's your T boundary. Okay, now the play itself is T drag. We always go from left to right is how I break down plays. You go T drag, X out, Y safe, slot cross. Okay, so your T is just going to run a little drag route, right? A little shallow cross, if you will. All right. X is going to run an out route. Okay. So your X is going to try to get out here. He gets rerouted inside. So it takes a minute. I think this is Dobbs for him to get out here on this out route. All right. And then you're going Y safe. That simply means the tight end, the Y, is just going to stay in and pass block. Okay. Y safe is kind of a form of max protect. If the running back was still in the backfield and he was blocking, we would call it max protect. Instead, it's Y safe because the tight end is staying in to block. All right. Now, obviously, you could see on the defensive side here, they're bringing a blitz, or at least they're showing a blitz, right? And that's what Kansas City loves to do. And then we're going to go slot cross. There's that slot cross we talk about again, Tim. Slot cross is real simple, right? Crosser, and then you're going to get a backside dig. Now, the problem is, and this is why Christian Watson graded low. Some people look at his production when he's on the field, and they think PFF doesn't know what the hell they're talking about. He's going to get a negative grade. I don't want to say a negative grade. He's still got a positive grade, I'm sure, for the catch. But this is what I'm talking about with his route running. He knows he's got to get inside on this slot cross concept, right? And you see him get completely rerouted by this defender. This defender is going to jam him and reroute him outside. And it's not until about this point back here that Christian Watson really thinks, crap, I can't turn the corner. I can't get the dig on this slot cross. So watch Jordan Love improvise here. Again, this is a perfect example of the receiver not being able to get where he needs to be. And granted, it was good coverage. Don't get me wrong. I'm not here to dog Christian on this play. Christian makes a hell of a play for the touchdown, matter of fact. But you'll see there comes a point where Jordan realizes this is a busted play. I'm going to have to roll out. I'm going to have to do something, just get rid of the ball. And then he makes eye contact with Christian because Christian's so far rerouted. Let me just throw this thing high and to the right, high and outside, and see if that big 6'4", whatever the frame it is that Christian Watson's got, can go up and make this grab. So key in on Christian here, who's going to try to get up here and run a backside dig, right? Instead, he gets pushed to the back corner of the end zone, and Jordan Love's just going to throw a back shoulder to him. Check this out. I'm almost convinced that's what this was. See how he's getting rerouted, Tim?
Yeah.
Now, you see, obviously, he's running the crosser, and Scoot's trying to get up here and run this dig, but the coverage is so good, it's so tight, and he's getting rerouted, he doesn't have a chance to. So watch what Jordan does here, right? He has to, let's just throw this thing away. And the reason I know this wasn't planned for a back shoulder, look at Scoot's head.
Yep.
Scoot's trying to work to the inside, but he gets to this point. See him trying to cut the corner on that dig, and he's like, oh, crap, the ball's in the air, which is a great move by Jordan. It's like, all right, he was not able to complete. Look where the open guys are. There's no one open. Doubled underneath on the T-drag. The crosser's well covered, right? So Jordan's going, let me just kind of toss it high and outside here. And if Christian gets it, great. If not, we'll live to play another down here. It's 2nd and 11. We're closing on the red zone anyway. But again, what's the placement of this ball, man? This is phenomenal. Just giving your guy a chance, right? Yep. To me, that looked like a busted slot cross. Now, unless we're in the huddle, we don't know. Maybe in the huddle, he did say, hey, try to get inside. If not, I'm going to back shoulder to you. That could have been the case. I don't think so. I think right here, Jordan realized, look how he looks left first. Doesn't like what he sees. Comes back, crap. He's late. Let's just try to throw it away. Boom, back shoulder. I love that it's a safe throw, only where the receiver can get it. And those people that are dogging Christian Watson, I get the injuries. I got you. But that dude has improved with his hands, man. Look at that grab.
Yep.
That's a
contested catch.
And again, Tim, nose down, perfect throw, bro. You can't throw it any better.
Yeah, it's like, how did Jordan just protect the football while simultaneously taking a chance? You know what I mean? It's like he's taking a risk.
There's the most important part right there, Tim. Look at that. Look at them moves. You kidding me, dude? Yeah, I know what you're saying. It's like you're taking a risk. You're taking a safe risk.
How right. If that even makes sense, right?
It doesn't, but it's true. Again, look at Christian, dude. Look at that ball.
But it's a game of matchups, right? You know, I mean, Scoot's got a few inches of height on this guy, and you're right. You see it, you got to say it. That's what Jordan did right there. He saw something and he took a shot. I think you're right. I don't think that was how that was supposed to go down, because that corner did a good job. That's
Just
what you want to
rerouting.
do in that situation, right? You want to get up, reroute them to the outside, to the boundary, use that sideline as another defender,
Yep.
and
And the
see
back
if you
line
can.
too.
Yep.
He
And
that's Yeah. They probably seen it on tape, Tim. Two by
yep.
two set. Well, they were in a bunch three on that side. Once the tight end stayed in, it essentially becomes a 2-by-2 route combination. I guarantee you, as soon as he sees the slot cross develop, it's all right. My goal is to get him as close to that pylon as possible, right? My meaning the cornerback. Let's try to reroute this backside dig, right? That's what you're seeing here too. So,
Yep.
um, yeah, I think that's probably what it was. And then once Christian got to a certain point, it was like, crap, I'm not going to get there. And he looks back, the ball's in the air, and that's where just instincts take over. I mean,
Yep. Great body adjustment by Scoot. Get up there
absolutely.
and get that ball.
The whole rerouting thing too. This is what we're talking about with the combine. Greg Cosell said it last year. I remember listening. It was during the summertime, and he was already watching the tape on this year's prospects, even though the draft had just concluded on the 2023 draft. Right? He said, yeah, these guys look great at the combine out there running routes and stuff, and they look crisp. How are they gonna perform when they're being rerouted on the field at the NFL?
Yep.
At the NFL level.
That's a good screenshot for all the Christian Watson can't high point a football.
Yeah, seriously, dude. That's
there you go. Show him that one.
Absolutely. Well, if you don't believe us, ask her. Look at her. She's like, whoa. This guy's drunk. He can't even follow the ball. He don't even know where the ball's at. I don't know what he's looking at. Right. At poor Kansas City Chiefs. I love looking at the fans when we're doing these replays, man. There's some gems in there, let me tell you. This guy knows exactly what's happening. Look at his jaw on the ground.
Yep. You know what? That was the game when we got the infamous.
I don't listen too much Taylor Swift.
Oh, it was. You're right. Look at that grab, dude. Oh man, that's a heck of a shot right there.
You gotta love it.
Yeah, and again, getting the butt cheek in. One butt cheek equals 2 feet. Look at that. There you go. That's the shot you need right there, Tim.
Yep.
Look at that. Exactly how they teach you to catch it, man. Yeah, I'm excited for Christian Watson to get healthy, dude. He gets healthy this year, and you couple him with this receiving core that's already been on fire. Man, come on. Now, this one right here is a little bittersweet for me. Go into all in depth. We broke down the entire play. There's a lot that happened before this highlight reel here from NFL Total Access took over. Jordan actually changed the play at the line of scrimmage here. If you guys remember, what he changed was he told the tight end to go Y safe again, right? So let's kind of break it down. We're going 11 gun empty, strong right, T wing, Z quick stack, X go, T leak, slot post, Z climb. Okay, and this is going to be kind of tough to decipher because, again, you got flyers, you got Z's, all this stuff. We'll just keep it simple. Again, we broke this down on Chalk Talk. You can go find the original Chalk Talk where we went a little more in depth. But Jordan comes to the line. He got them to tip their hand right here with these blitzers. And they back up and go, oh, no, we ain't coming. He's like, no, you already gave me my information. So what he did was change the play, at least change the protection, told the tight end the Y to stay safe here. And that's what ends up happening. So the Y stay safe. And that gets them some extra protection, if I remember this play correctly. Again, 11 gun. Where's your 11 at? You got one running back is over here on the wing, actually, if I remember correctly, and there's your tight end. Okay, so you went empty, 11 gun empty, strong right. Yeah, T wing over here, T wing. Z quick to stack. There's your Z. How is he your Z? He is the farthest receiver away on the tight end side. That makes this your X over here, which is actually a boundary X on this specific play because there is your boundary side of the field that makes him boundary X. You like those isolations. What Jordan's seen here, and I remember this on Chalk Talk now, Tim, is he's seen this lineup right here and went, wait a minute. If these guys are stacked up over here, remember what we talked about earlier, when you got receivers that are close split, like these two guys, right? They like to stack up and just one being in front of the other and allow the play to develop, and then they can choose, okay, their assignment is I'm going outside with this guy, I'm going inside with this guy, or vice versa, right? So the way the play is designed to go is X go. He's just going to stretch the field here, right? And then the T is going to run a leak, okay? So the T is going to chip a little bit, and then he's going to leak out and kind of run a little angle route here underneath, right? So you're clearing out and then running a little delayed angle underneath. And then you're going to go slot post, right? which is Dontavian Wicks is going to get here and get a little move and then run a post at the end here. It's going to be a lot deeper than that. We just can't go off screen with the graphic here. And then, of course, you've got your Z climb. So your Z is motion. Some people refer to that as a flyer. That's okay if you do in this specific situation. And then he's going to run a crosser. So I think what Jordan did on this play, and it's what I broke down on Chalk Talk, I think he recognized the blitz. I honestly think this was supposed to be a switch slot cross. But what Jordan did at the line, he recognizes the blitz. He comes up, tells the Y, stay safe. He looked over at Wicks and probably said, get skinny. He didn't say get skinny, or else Stephon Gilmore knows what get skinny means. But he probably gave him some kind of signal, some kind of code like, hey, work the seam. Forget the backside dig, work the seam. Jaden Reed's going to continue to work his slot cross. It looks like a slot cross concept, but instead, Tay Wicks is going to get out here about this point, give Stephon Gilmore a little shake, and then obviously get skinny on the post. So let's watch it develop. There you see your Z quick. Bang. Notice the Y staying safe. You see the chip from Patrick Taylor up top on Micah Parsons. He's going to run a little angle. Jordan knows where he's going with the ball right here. All because of that pre-snap alignment. He knows that Gilmore does not have help up top. And they're probably communicating right here. You see these two guys communicating, right? They're probably going, hey, look, I'll go in, you go out. This motion gives defenses fit. That motion right there is why these two guys are communicating right now. I guarantee he's going, I'll take the in, it'll be man coverage. You take the out, it'll be man coverage, right? And again, watch Tay Wicks in the slot. Ball snapped. It's going to be hard to see here. He goes off screen. Look at Jordan fading. Once again, Jordan Love, there's not many quarterbacks in the league that can do this, guys. Watch him bounce back, off the back foot. Look at that arm strength, bro. Just a flick of the freaking wrist, bro. Offensive line held up pretty well considering that blitz right there. They really did.
But yeah, I don't see Josh on the ground, so that's good.
Josh showed up well right here, right? That's a good rep for Josh. The one I'm looking at, though, is Sean Ryan. Look at Sean Ryan. Watch Sean Ryan the whole time right here. Obviously, you see the ball. Look at the right guard position next to him. Look at that.
Ooh, woof.
Once again, that's two plays. The top 10 Jordan Love plays of the year. On 2 of those 10, we've seen Sean Ryan with his back to the defense. And you wonder why he graded out a 40-something on PFF. So that is another reason why, whether it's tackle or it's guard within the first 3 rounds, you've got to shore up right guard. That may mean taking a tackle and kick Tom in at right guard. Got to get that fixed, though. But Jordan just backyard ball, Tim. Look at this.
Yep.
Off the back foot. I mean, look at that ball right there, dude. Stephon Gilmore never had a chance. Some people were going, hold up. How did he create 1.5 yard separation from Stephon Gilmore?
He cooked them.
Absolutely.
Put them in a blender.
Let's see a little bit better angle of it, Tim, since you brung it up, man. How about we do that? I'm pretty sure they show one more here. God, I hope they do.
Oh, we got to see the dance, though.
You got to have the dance.
Like the same dance Scoot was doing there. All right, here we go.
Oh, look at this. I'm already excited. Let's go 25% nerd out. I know we're over on time, guys. Calm down. Here we go. Watch Tay right here. Oh, yeah. look at, and people were going, hey, whatever. It's just a little juke. Look at Gilmore's.
Right there is where he's toasted right there because he sells the outbreaker like he's going to go to the outside. Look how far squatted he is, dude. He doesn't know whether to crap or go blind, so he closes one eye and farts. Look at this. Watch. And it's just enough separation. And look how quick his feet are out of the break right here. Look at Tay dragging the foot right there. Look. That's what we talk about. It's saying it kind of reminds you of Devontae Adams. That body, look at that balance, man. And again, the left foot, watch the left foot plant and go. Separation. Gilmore underestimated his quickness coming out of the break, too. Looked like he couldn't even attempt to get a PI there. He wasn't close enough. Looked like he tried to grab him there for a second, but
right there, didn't he?
Yeah.
Trying to hook that hip. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, man.
You got to love it.
Yeah.
Don Wick.
And again, it kind of bobbled the catch. That's all right. He probably got talked to in the meeting room about that, but nonetheless, man, still counts, baby. Still counts. So that was your Jordan Love top 10 plays of the year, according to NFL Total Access, man. Those are a lot of fun to watch. I wish we could have kept up the chat a little bit more, but I wanted to get through that Jordan Love top 10 before free agency really got cranked up here. So I'm glad we got to it. We're at the hour 4 minute mark. Tim, you got anything you want to add, buddy? Anything that came to mind as we were watching that? And I'll go through and look at what you got started here too, man.
Actually, we can just start there. I mean, Omer hit it on the head here. One more year with Clements, sure not going to hurt Jordan's development. I agree with that. I'm really, really just so excited that Tom Clements decided to run it back another year. A guy who already came out of retirement, and you can just see this young team and what we're doing here is just it's building excitement, and even in our staff, to see a guy like that who's certainly could be somewhere fishing or playing golf or whatever he likes to do, and he's like, no, I'm going to go ahead and get another ring here with another quarterback. So you got to love it. But I agree with Omer there.
I think when Aaron reached out to him and talked to Matt LaFleur, and I know people like the dog on Aaron Rodgers, the reason Tom Clements is back in Green Bay is Aaron Rodgers. That was one of the moves he wanted to make. I know we like to, make fun of the fact that he wanted this receiver and that receiver. Tom Clements is the one nobody makes fun of. That was a great move by Aaron, obviously, and kind of setting Jordan's future up. I mean, you're not going to have anyone any better. But he said that I remember Tom Clements when he came back, if I remember correctly, during the presser, he said, when Aaron called me, he said, I was just sitting on the porch petting the dog. I just imagine he's back in the woods with no electricity, and somebody, sends a homing pigeon out there, or a guy rides in on a horseback and says, hey, Aaron Rodgers said he wants to talk to you. Yeah, come on back, man. Let's coach me and Jordan up a little bit. But yeah, you're right on there. Tom Clements, man, that dude, it's going to suck when he leaves, but hopefully everything that he has instilled in Jordan Love, it sticks, right? And here's the thing, too. Here's another thing. I can't remember the guy's name. Former NFL quarterback, had just stopped playing, and he come in to be an offensive assistant, a quarterback assistant. Do you remember his name, Tim? I can't remember. We covered it on here. Sean Mannion, right?
Oh, yeah, the guy from Minnesota.
Bingo. So he comes in now as a quarterback assistant, fresh out of playing in the NFL. Guess who's studying Tom Clements?
Yep.
Sean Mannion. So
there's got to be a method to that madness too. There's a reason why they made that move.
Look at how we develop quarterbacks, Tim, right? You have them sit and learn. Here's another example. Mark Murphy, right? President, CEO. He's about to have to step down because of age. They've had, what's his name? Ed Policy, right? Has been sitting behind Mark Murphy. Now, he's not a slam dunk to be the next president, CEO, as Murphy is forced to step down because of age, but he's
on the hot list for sure.
The front runner, right? So they've been, kind of crafting him behind Murphy. That's how the Packers operate, man. It's like put an understudy in place and have him prepped. Think of Brian Gutekunst. Brian Gutekunst worked under Ted Thompson for, maybe decades. I know at least 10 years, right, as one of his head scouts. So they kind of molded him into Ted Thompson's role. Now you got someone like a Sean Mannion. Maybe he can pick Tom Clements' brain and continue this tradition on, developing quarterbacks. That would be exciting too.
That's right.
Jeff Silke in the chat says, if you want the Packers to win a couple Super Bowls with Jordan Love, you protect him and give him a dominant run game. Absolutely. And that's the big problem with the offensive line is the run blocking. I think they graded out in the bottom 5 in run blocking grade according to PFF. Now, again, some people don't like PFF. Go look at the blown block percentage. One of the highlights of our offensive line this year was Rasheed Walker. He finished 20th in blown block percentage, right? So I'd like to pull that stat up if I can. Blown block percentage as an offensive lineman whole, on SIS. Maybe we'll try to hit on that on PTA Live tonight. Of course, I'll probably forget about it before we go live. That's usually how that works. So there you go. Let's see if Jarrell hit on the Xavier McKinney. Oh, that was something else. Okay. Oh, no, here it is. Jarrell Lee said Xavier is a free agent, but the Giants can still sign him like the Chiefs did with Chris.
He's got to be exclusive rights then. So he's exclusive rights free agent.
Something that I don't know, man. Again, I just want to get to the 11th, Tim. So we ain't got to figure
tomorrow.
it
out. We'll be there before you know it.
Right, it's coming.
One more sleep.
Yeah.
And just imagine what conversations are being had right now across the league. Like right now while we're talking, casually chilling out, having some diesel, and I can just imagine what's going on across the league right now.
Goody's staff is not sleeping. many hours right now. They're looking at every possible scenario, free agency, the draft. People like to, there's a select group of fans that like to just laugh and scoff at mock drafts. Guys, teams are doing mock drafts. They're looking at every scenario right now, and they got to be prepared for, hey, what if these guys fly off the board that we're not expecting? What's our contingency plan there, right? They're looking at every single angle. So, yeah, but there you go. All right, man. Let's get out of here, Tim. Appreciate you hopping on with me, buddy. Like I said, guys, we went a little bit late. The time change got us a touch, but we got it in. Appreciate y'all all hanging out with us. We got a herd of people in here, 276 watching. Thank you guys and gals so much for spending time with us here on this Sunday morning. We'll be back tonight for a PTA Live. Maybe we'll have some free agency news. Nonetheless, tomorrow, floodgates are going to open. You're going to hear teams flying in and visiting, specific players, and all this free agency is going to start to kind of fall into place. The big name I'm looking at is Xavier McKinney, because I feel like if Goody's going to go after him, he's going to do it quick. If we don't hear anything about it within the first 24 hours, probably wasn't even on Goody's radar. That's something we're going to find out real fast here. So there you go. Appreciate everybody hanging out with us again. For those of you listening on the pod, thank you for making us a part of your day. As always, let's go out and be the change we want to see in the world, and go Pack Go.